Let's talk for a few minutes about the worst people on earth. Let's rank them on a tier scale. And when I say like the worst people on earth, I'm not talking about we're not talking about individuals here, okay? So a few things I got to get out of the way. I'm not talking about an individual. I'm not talking about Donald Trump specifically, or Vince McMahon specifically, or J-Lo specifically, or Britney Spears, or whatever the fuck, right? We're talking about archetypes, okay? Not so much stereotypes. I mean, we're not going to get into like race or politics or anything so much. We're talking about very specific groups of people who exist on Earth that I think most of us can agree we could do without. Okay, so everything from, pedophiles to lottery players to influencers, whatever. And we're going to rank these groups on a tier scale, ranging anywhere from destroy, right? That's the worst of the worst. I wanted to put like eradicate, genocide, whatever. Like we want to just eliminate in a violent fashion from this world. But because of this stupid tier list app that I use makes things look weird, you have to like pick a certain amount of characters or whatever. So I just destroy. That works, right? Destroy them. Okay? Or we could just get rid of them. It's kind of the same thing, but it's a little less violent. We just need to remove them. Doesn't matter if it's in a violent fashion or not. Decry, object to, whatever. No, that's very, very bad. You're a bad person. You're terrible. Change, please. Nah, you know what? Yeah, we could do without you, but whatever. You suck. But we're not going to fight a war over it. And then there's, meh. I don't know. I don't think I like you, but we're not going to worry about it too much. And then fine, which is to say that, like, all right, whatever. I know the optics of whatever it is that you are might be bad, but you know what? It's not such a big deal. So who cares? So that's the tier scale that we're working with. Okay, so hopefully everybody can kind of grasp this concept, and hopefully nobody takes it too fucking seriously. This is just one asshole's opinion on various groups. And so again, before we really, really dive in, I have to make it very clear. I mentioned we're not talking about individuals, all right? And we're going to really try to dance around the political thing, okay? Just for the sake of, well, look, if I'm being honest, it's for the sake of, I want this channel to go somewhere. I don't want to get too divisive here. Yes, I have political opinions. I happen to be more of a moderate centrist, I lean a little one way here, a little the other way there on certain things, and I don't want to be known as this big fence setter. This isn't a political channel, okay? So I'm not going to, spoiler alert, it's not going to be Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives. But if you pay close attention, you'll probably kind of be able to formulate an idea of where I sit, in terms of the political spectrum. And it's also not going to involve, races, right? We're not going to be like Mexicans and black people and white people. We're not going to go there. Okay. We're going to try to keep this as family friendly as possible, which is basically impossible. For me, it's impossible with the nature of my mouth. But, look, I'm not going to try to go too over the line. Okay, so I think that's enough of a description. I don't want to spend more than fucking 5 minutes on an intro. Let's get started. And where to begin? Well, I said it wasn't going to be about politics, but let's talk about politicians. Just in general, right? Because I don't care what side of the aisle you sit on. Most of us out there, most of us, you want to feel part of a team. You want to pick a side. You want to know who you're going to vote for. Right? So whether we're talking about gun control or immigration or global warming or fucking taxation or whatever the fuck, you're going to pick a team. And that's all well and good. I'm not interested in that. However, your elected representatives, our politicians who we elect to represent us, I don't care what side of the aisle you sit on, are they really, be honest with yourself, if you're a conservative, if you're a right-winger, do you really feel like Ted Cruz represents you? You really feel like, or is it all lip service, right? Do you really feel like, well, maybe you do feel like AOC represents you. Maybe she is a good, maybe you're as fucking big of a fucking freak dumbass as she is. All right, I said I was going to make this political, whatever. You get what I mean, though, right? Like, most of these fucking people, it takes a very specific type of person to become a politician. And before I go any further, this is just reminding me of something. There's going to be a lot of crossover here, right? So, like, if we're talking about, say, for instance, vegans, and we're talking about feminists, and we're talking about protesters, there's going to be a lot of crossover between those three, so, yeah, I mean, it's very, very typical. Or, fucking rednecks, fireworks guy, fucking gun enthusiasts. We're going to find a lot of crossovers. So I'm going to try to talk about each one of these categories as best I can and keep them isolated from one another as best I can. So, but whatever, politicians, they fit into, the category if we're going to talk about narcissists. People who are cutthroats, backstabbers, liars, right? There's a lot of things that we could throw into this one. There's a lot of categories of people that we can kind of lump together that would create the perfect politician. But let's face it, most of them, they're not good people. Okay. It's always, I think, again, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you sit on. Most of us can agree that it's always a choice. Every time you go to the fucking voting booth, it's the lesser of two evils. And you're just picking the candidate that suits your views as close as it can. It fucks me up that people do get enthusiastic about, every once in a while you have an outlier, all right? And again, I don't want to get too repetitive here, but, there are the Donald Trumps and the Bernie Sanders and these people out there that seem outside the system. Okay. And that's a conversation, whether or not that's actually true is beside the point. And that's a conversation that I don't want to get into here. But, I understand people getting enthusiastic over the populists, like a Bernie or like a Trump, right? Even though those two guys have fuck all to do with each other outside of that. But otherwise, you're casting a vote for Joe Biden. Are you really enthusiastic about Joe Biden? Or you just hated fucking Trump, right? Are you really enthusiastic about George Bush? Whatever. It's like most of us, we do it because it's like, well, he toes the party line for me and I'm going to go whatever. So politicians, they're necessary, but what caliber of human being is your run-of-the-mill politician? Are they really these people that are out there for the greater good, to follow their heart, to make the world a better place? Or did they find a fucking career that suited them in their narcissism? By and large, I would say the latter. And so politicians, it's a necessary group, right? We need to have somebody. You can't let the inmates run the asylum. Somebody's got to be in control. And because of that, I can't say, just obliterate all politicians. But it does take a certain type of individual to make a successful politician. I don't want to say a good politician, but a successful one. It's the way our system's set up, okay? I don't know what to fucking say about it. I'm gonna decry politicians. I don't like them. Fuck politicians, but we can't get rid of them, and I certainly don't want to murder all of them. So they go into decry. Bad politicians. You fucking suck. All right, anyway. Next up on the list. Fireworks Guy. I assume that most of us, I don't know, I live in the Midwest, okay? So I don't know how many of you out there living on like the coasts or whatever have to deal with what I have to deal with. 4th of July is one thing, all right? The 4th of July comes, it's a well-known fact that you're going to be kept up all night by, fucking sonic booms and fucking flares going off, lights and sounds, explosions, whatever, okay? But there's a difference. There's a difference between wanting to celebrate the 4th of July, to commemorate like our independence here in the United States of America. And let's be honest, like most of us who are celebrating the 4th of July, having our barbecues, lighting off fireworks, we're really not thinking of the Founding Fathers. We're not thinking of, the Revolutionary War. We're not thinking of 1776. We're not thinking about our forebears. We're just thinking about, man, I want to fucking get drunk and eat some burgers and blow up some shit and whatever. All right, but even that's still fine. That's kind of what just like Christmas, right? Christmas is, it's the birth of Christ, the Savior of the world. But really, it's about Santa. It's about Santa and presents and fucking snow and sledding and whatever the fuck. Okay, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So 4th of July, same thing. Fireworks, barbecues. That's all well and good. But the fireworks guy, they're not just operating on the 4th of July. This is an individual that I'm talking about that has to fucking, he goes out to Fireworks Depot or whatever and buys a goddamn arsenal that would be enough to like blow up the state of Israel itself without any interference from Hamas. Okay? And it's just like a big fetish. Right? Memorial Day, Labor Day, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Juneteenth, doesn't fucking matter. Any fucking day of the week, any time of the year, there's always that motherfucker. I don't know if I say most of you, but a lot of you out there listening to this probably have a neighbor who is this guy. They're just, throwing quarter sticks of dynamite inside of coolers and blowing them up just to fucking get their rocks off. All right? That guy's a fucking, setting off the car alarms all the way down the street. Right, you're trying to get some sleep. It's a fucking Tuesday. You got to get up for work at 6 a.m. You're in bed. It's 11:30, almost midnight. And here's fucking dickhead Tommy next door blowing shit up in his fucking driveway. And that guy's a fucking asshole. And he's not alone. There's a whole fucking species that exists. Any excuse to blow up shit, to light off fireworks, they're going to take it. And I got to be honest, I could do without their existence. I fucking hate fireworks, guy. Not to say that I hate fireworks, because again, it has its place, especially if you have kids. I have 2 little boys, and when you're a little kid and your IQ's like, in the double digits, you haven't fucking learned shit about shit yet, okay? And the most simple things in life are amusing and entertaining to you. I get fawning over a fucking colorful explosion of gunpowder in the sky. I understand that. So I don't want to say fireworks, it's, them as a thing. It's like, that's bullshit. Okay, because it is nice. I'll spend $50, $70 or whatever the fuck on some sparklers and, a couple fucking Roman candles or whatever, so that on the 4th of July, my kids can have a good time and yay, hooray, whatever the fuck, and that's it. But I don't get this motherfucker that it's New Year's Eve in southeast Michigan, negative 20 degrees. You're going to go outside and fucking light shit on fire to watch it explode. I just don't get that. That's white trash as fuck. So where do we put the fireworks guy? I'm not going to just, just all the shame in the world wouldn't stop them. Okay, that's not... Fuck you, whatever. I mean, not that it would stop politicians either, but I think the only thing that we can, at least with the politicians, you can... The pen is mightier than the sword, right? Like, we have more of a voice than we realize, and I know social media kind of muddies that waters, but if we all really wanted to, we could do something about it, but we won't because we're disorganized. We're not a real nation. We're not a real fucking collective. That's a whole other conversation or whatever. There is a possibility to do something about the fucking nature of politicians. We won't do that. But what are you going to do about the fireworks guy? You're not going to reason with them. This is like the Terminator. You can't be bargained with, can't be reasoned with. It will not stop because that's just what their fucking mental capacity is. Just fucking give me my paycheck and let me fucking see it go up in flames and pretty colors. And there's nothing that's going to stop them. Now, I'm not saying they deserve to be killed or culled or fucking eradicated or anything like that. So I'm not going to put them up and destroy. But I'm going to say let's get rid of them. If we could ship them all off to a fucking island where they could all just light shit up and enjoy each other's company away from the rest of us fucking civilized folk. That's what I would do with the fireworks guy. Okay, anyway, next up, Karen. Karens. And I know I said I was going to make this like a race thing or a fucking political thing or whatever. And Karen, in my opinion, it is a very racially specific thing. I mean, we're talking about white bitches. But sometimes you gotta get specific. I'm sorry, I mean, it is a white bitch thing. We could talk about LaQuisha, too. That's a different species, though. That's a whole different fucking game. The bitch at the gas station is gonna throw left hooks because the drive-through McDonald's is built into that gas station, got her fucking 6-piece nugget mixed up with a 4-piece nugget. Now she's fucking knocking over coffee pots and throwing shit across the fucking counter. That's a different kind of person. And unfortunately, I didn't include that in this here tier list. Maybe in a future installment, because again, there's a lot of shitty people out there. We just like the wrestling thing. We can go a long way with this. We'll include LaQuisha in a future video. But right now, we're talking about Karen. That fucking bitch, that nosy fucking bitch that's like, you're playing your music a little too loud.
I'm gonna call the police. Excuse me, what are you doing? Excuse me, can I speak with the manager? My fucking chicken salad is lukewarm. I wanted it chilled. That whole thing. I ordered a venti mocha extra hot and it's barely warm.
We know, I don't have to fucking get into it too much, right? We know what a Karen is, right? A brown person walks down the street, they're calling the cops just for their existence. Somebody didn't pick up their dog shit at the park within 15 seconds with a little doggy bag. She's calling the cops, right? We all know who this bitch is. We've seen them. I have to, unfortunately, in my line of work that sees me working with the public, I have to deal with them all the fucking time. And I can tell you, it's the thing I hate about my job the most. Oftentimes I have to dig holes. I wind up getting electrocuted. I work with power lines, I work with cable lines, I work with, I'm not going to get too specific into my line of work, but I do physical labor outdoors, and a lot of times I have to get onto people's property in order to do that. And while I do have easement rights as a utility worker, Karen doesn't fucking respect easement rights, okay? They never do. In fact, just in the last 2 weeks, I was confronted multiple times by multiple Karens, all right? Have to go pop into a backyard to look at a fucking telephone pole for about 5 seconds. All right, I got my fucking reflective vest. I got my hard hat. She doesn't answer the door, so I walk in the backyard. Well, now she comes out and she's shaking. Okay, she's fucking like going into convulsions. Like, excuse me, what, this is bullshit. What are you doing walking into my yard? I will call the fucking police. All right, bitch, call the police then. I don't know, I have easement rights. You see my fucking vest. You see my fucking flashing beacons out there. You know that I knocked on the door. This sort of bitch. And it is, unfortunately, this one, like I said, it hits a little close to home for me. All right? So I don't, this is it's a, I don't want to say a memory. Because, again, this is something I deal with on a daily to weekly basis, dealing with these bitches. And so I have to ask myself, is this clouding my judgment, right? Are they as bad as they seem? Are they as bad as I see them because I have to deal with them so much more than the general public? But you know what? I don't think I do have to deal with them more than the general public, because I think if you go outside, if you're shopping at Walmart, if you're out at McDonald's, if you're going anywhere existing in life, there are Karens out there. Okay? It's just like if you live on the African savannah and you're an antelope, you constantly have to have your ears perked. Because there's a leopard, or there's a hyena, or there's a lion, or there's some fucking jackal or fucking wild dog out there, always, somewhere, looking to take you out. And to that same fucking degree, no matter where you go in society, whether you're at work, whether you're at play, whether you're out shopping, there's a Karen out there somewhere looking to take you down. Especially if you're another Karen. But so there's that inner, I don't know, these bitches, and this is the thing, like I said, there's a lot of crossover here. Because eventually we could talk about, like, say, narcissists or whatever. Karens are by nature narcissists. They think the world revolves around them. These are women that have never been fucking bitch slapped, right? I feel like a lot of the problems with modern culture, because Karen is kind of a new phenomenon, right? This isn't something that we talked about 30 years ago. Well, guess why? Because women were kept in line back then. I'm not saying it's a good idea to be Sean Connery and backhanding women every time they fucking speak out of turn or raise their voice a little bit, right? Just want to be heard. But there is a line between being equal, having your voice heard, and then fucking walking through life as a princess, never being told to shut the fuck up, never being told your actual place, never being told that, you know what, you're not that hot, you're not that smart, you're not that fucking great, shut the fuck up, sit the fuck down, or I'm gonna fucking blast you in the goddamn nose. That's what creates a Karen. They never have to deal with shit in life, and most of them, you know, a lot of it, we talk about generational divides, you know, Gen Z versus millennials versus Gen X versus boomers, whatever. You know, a lot of the Karens are from the boomer to Gen X generation. Now, some of the boomers, yeah, maybe they have met a backhand here or there, but not so much like their fucking, you know, moms did, right? Back in like the 40s and fucking 30s or whatever, right? Like where women really weren't respected at all. The boomer generation was kind of the first one where women were allowed to really have their lot in life or whatever. Most of them just, you know, they got their vote, they got to have their like freedom or whatever, and they usually still married a guy who like worked for one of the big three and made all the money, and they didn't have to do shit. They didn't have to listen to shit. They didn't have to go to work. They didn't have to deal with a boss. They didn't have to deal with any backlash. They didn't have to deal with the public outside of going and doing the grocery shopping. Yes, they had to deal with children. But, you know, they're always superior to children. That's the thing. You know, you're raising children. You're dealing with fucking people who don't know shit. Kids are dumb. And they're in no position to fucking tell you what to do, so you're dominant throughout your entire fucking existence. And then they go out into the real world now, and times have changed. Not everybody wants to listen to your shit. But, oh, you're gonna listen to my shit. That's a fucking Karen. All right, anyway, I could go on and on and on and on and on and on forever about Karens. But where do we place them? Obliterate, like destroy them? Just get rid of them? Shame them? Decry them? Whatever? Nah. Because they're not getting any lower than that. And that's the thing about this one. Whereas with the wrestling tier list, it's like the lower you go, the worse you are. This one, the lower you are, the better off you are. The better the person you are. I'm sorry, Karens need to be destroyed. They need to fucking just fuck off the face of the earth in a violent, fucking justice-driven fashion. Now, I will say the only thing that sucks about this is the fact of the matter that most Karens do have kids. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. And so for me to say, like, destroy them, obliterate them, eradicate them, genocide, it means we're going to have a lot of motherless children. And that in itself is a fucking problem. That's my only reservation. But you know what? That kid is better off, you know, growing up in a single father household. I mean, we all know how bad kids with single mother households struggle. It's even worse when it's a single father. But nevertheless, I mean, unless that dad's a murderer or something like that, I think they'd be better off. But if his dad is a murderer, maybe he's the guy responsible for murdering fucking Karen or something. Which brings me to the next one. Murderers. So yeah, let's talk about murderers. Where do they fit on the list? You know, that's kind of that one's a little bit more nuanced. Actually, it's not. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I mean, look, within each of these groups, there's a spectrum, okay? There's diversity. Some Karens are worse than others. Some politicians are worse than others. Fireworks guys pretty much across the board. But Karens, they're pretty much across the board too. Murderers, though, I don't know, sometimes it's justified. Well, I don't know. I guess I should probably, if I want the algorithm to treat this video in a favorable light, I better watch what I say, I suppose. But, there's certain time, there's conflict. Sometimes it's the heat of the moment. Shit happens. Okay, there are murderers that are worse than others. We have serial killers. That's a whole different group. Just because you murder somebody doesn't make you a serial killer. Whatever, even though serial killer does by default make you a murderer. Whatever. We're just talking about murderers in general. So, O.J. Simpson. He's the guy that you're looking at right now. I guess that's the thing. Was Nicole Brown a fucking carrot? I don't know. Probably not. And, look, this is all for fucking fun, all right? Because I can just see there's too many people out there that fucking, I guess I should have made a group for you, too. Although maybe you are in here, I don't know, somewhere. Maybe you yourself, the listener, feels like maybe you fit into this, one of these categories somewhere, and we'll see as we move on. People take shit too seriously. Look, I'm fucking joking, all right? But murderers, I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on murderers. Murderers are, it's the worst of the worst. You're robbing someone of their life. You're robbing somebody of their future. You're not giving them any, because anybody else on the list, okay, no matter how bad they are, at least if you encounter one, you have a chance of, living through it, coming out the other side of it, becoming maybe even stronger for your interaction with this type of individual. With a murderer, though, if you're the victim, you're done. Your life's over. That's curtains. It's the worst of the worst, right? Somebody who murders somebody is the worst of the worst. And I know there's debate. We could say that fucking, rapists and pedophiles and this and that and whatever could be just as bad. And, I can understand some of those arguments. But no, when you kill someone, that's it. But to be fair, murderers it's different than killer. Those two different categories, because you can kill someone in a war, you can murder someone for, cheating on you, you can murder someone just because you're a fucking psychopath serial killer, and each one of them could be considered murder, but they're all different levels, so I guess this gets more nuanced than I had fucking planned for before I started making this tier list, and I don't really feel like getting scientific with it, but I think everybody, look, people like O.J. Simpson, right? You murder somebody just because you're an asshole. You killed someone because you're a piece of shit. You're the worst type of human on earth. There's no fucking bones about that. Right? And I don't think I need to elaborate further. But a close contender, in my eyes, and likely in the eyes of many, is pedos. Okay, I don't even know if I can say the full word, because YouTube likes to play this fucking game. And I don't usually... Look, I start cursing right out the gate. I don't really watch what I say all that much here, because I just like to be me. I don't want to sit and worry about getting demonetized. I'm not monetized anyway. Look at my fucking subscriber count. Okay, it's pathetic. Nobody's paying me. So I can say what the fuck I want, I guess. Pedophiles. They're right up there with murderers. I don't give a fuck, because you're robbing somebody of their future. Yes, their physical body may live on, but there's trauma, right? I guess this is where we need to differentiate between a pedophile and a pederast. A pederast is by nature a pedophile, but a pedophile by nature is not necessarily a pederast. The difference between the two is one is attracted to children, the other one fucks children. Right? So I guess if I were to put that on a list, that would obviously go up top of the heap. Where does pedophile go? Just somebody who's attracted to children. This is a fucking... I don't like talking about this, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. Okay, but look at who we're talking about here. Somebody like Jared. Subway Jared. You got busted with fucking, however many hours or fucking gigabytes of fucking child porn. Okay, he's disgusting. It's like, you say the worst of the worst. And of course, it sounds right to say that. Are they as bad as murderers? And I guess that's the thing, where one is ending the life of another human, giving them no chance at a future, and that's terrible, and it doesn't get any worse than that. However, I think a lot of us can kind of relate to wanting to kill somebody, okay? Like, we can all kill that motherfucker. fuck you, I'll knock you dead. You know, we can kind of all relate to that. I can see how, I can at least wrap my head. I'm not saying I'm excusing it. I'm not saying I'm excusing O.J. Simpson for fucking chopping fucking his ex-wife's head off and stabbing her boyfriend to death or whatever the fuck, but I can at least wrap my head around how, rage can hit a certain point where it's just like, I'm going to kill this motherfucker. That's a very human thing. It's a very dark, ugly thing, but it's a very human thing. It's something that most of us have to keep in check, right? Like most of us have had an experience in life where it's like there was such deep-seated hatred for another person that we just wanted to do the worst to that person, destroy them, kill them, whatever. We've all kind of felt something on that level at some point in our lives, but of course, being a civilized, normal, non-psychopathic person, we kind of, we hold ourselves back from that. Let it go. But I can kind of wrap my head around how there's that fucking short circuit. Just, you snap, and that's it. So in some cases, now that's not to say that I can relate to Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer or John Wayne Gacy or any of these serial killers. That's a whole different thing. But I can kind of understand, at least wrap my head around the concept of murdering somebody. What I can't wrap my head around is wanting to fuck children. That I cannot wrap my head around. And I think most of us, hopefully everybody listening, I hope to God, feels the same way. Like, what the fuck is wrong? There's something deeply, deeply wrong with you. You are a sick individual. And I do acknowledge, I say sick individual, I acknowledge that could be, there's been some controversy over the last couple years or whatever, ever since the LGBT fucking Q movement started making strides. Of course, it was inevitable that we're going to get to this point where it's just like, well, this is a sexual preference just like any other. And I think, without fucking getting into a weird spot here, all right, fair enough. You can't help who you're attracted to, right? Like for me, I've always been attracted to short brunettes, right? For some people, can't help it. You're a man and you're attracted to another man. You're a man and you're attracted to big fat women. You're a woman and you're attracted to big fat women. You're fucking whatever. Right? Everybody's got their sexual preferences, and I don't recall ever having made a choice, right? Just like I never made a choice to not like hard-boiled eggs. I never chose that. I never made a choice to like jalapenos. It's just I do or I don't or whatever. And sexual preference is a taste, just like your taste for food. That's your sexual preference, whatever. Fine. I can acknowledge that there are people out there with a mental deficiency that sees them uncontrollably attracted to small children. And I'm sorry for you. I'm sure there are some out there that would put themselves in a psych ward or sooner chop off their own genitalia than ever hurt a child, and God bless you if you're one of them. But most people are not like that. Pedophiles are disgusting. And I think there's a sociopathic element to it as well. And I don't think I put sociopaths on this list. We're not going to get to them. But I think with a lot of them, the ones that wind up harming each other, they're not worried about what they're going to do to that to that child. They have no concern for what they're doing to damage someone's future. They're just worried about getting their nut off. And to me, that goes right up there. And you know what? Fuck, dude. Am I really keeping Karen in there with Jared and fucking OJ? Oh shit, I don't normally do this, but I'll knock Karen down a peg. I mean, that's as terrible as Karen is. I can't keep her up there with the fucking likes of murderers and pedophiles. Okay, next up, let's see, people who chew with their mouth open. Okay, let's drop it down a peg. Let's make it a little more lighthearted than pedos and murderers and Karens and that, right? Just somebody who chews their mouth open. We've all been there. Right? We've all had to sit across the table from this fucking person who just evidently doesn't understand the concept of closing their motherfucking lips as they chew their fucking food. They'll sit and have a conversation and laugh and whatever the fuck. God bless them. My best friend in life. Now, I haven't had dinner with him in a long time. I haven't sat across the table from him in a long time or eaten lunch with him. But I remember when we were teenagers, we would fucking get Taco Bell all the time because we would just, I don't know, whatever. It was like a staple of our fucking diet at the age of 15. We'd go there all the time. We'd order, like, I'd get a combo pack of like 4 soft tacos and a Mountain Dew or whatever, and he would do the same. Every fucking time we would be sitting there eating, I would listen to him chew. Never closed his fucking mouth. Just audibly, visibly, fucking disgusting. What the fuck's the matter with you? You're a goddamn Neanderthal. It's not, this is like the most low effort thing you can do is just close your mouth when you're fucking eating. But some people just can't fucking do it. And they don't even realize that they can't do it. It's one of the most horrific things, right? The most unappetizing things you can see. You're trying to sit there and eat yourself, right? You know, it's hard to eat when you fucking got your stomach's turning. And one of the most stomach-turning things is sit there across from you looking at a motherfucker with his mouth open, just, saliva sogging up all their food and just being fucking disgusting. But, I'm not going to say kill them. Granted, again, my best friend was guilty of this when we were teenagers. I think he's grown up since then. I'm not going to say put them on an island. We're going to just say, go ahead. We're going to shame them, though. We're going to decry the open-mouthed chewers. I mean, that's where they go. Next up, people with anime profile pics. Twitter, Facebook, X, whatever the fuck, right? Instagram, I don't care what social media site. We've all seen these fucking people. And it's how I automatically know I don't have to take you seriously. So on one hand, it's just kind of convenient, right? Like I see you're fucking spouting some bullshit at me, whether it's regarding politics, whether it's regarding a fucking video game, I don't give a shit. And your profile picture is an anime character, I automatically write you off. I don't have to listen to you anymore. Because no grown, mature adult does that, right? Look, I understand. Generation to generation to generation, we mature a little more slowly. I will fully admit that it took me, my dad, for instance, I was born, he was 25 years old when I was born. And by the time I can remember, like that dude had his shit together. He wasn't sitting there worried about playing video games or pinball or goofing off with his fucking buddies. Yeah, he'd go bowling every once in a while and have a few pops. But he was a fucking man. Every time I would look at the guy, if he wasn't working, if he wasn't at work or going to better himself, he was doing a project around the house. He was chopping wood. He was fucking, building a fucking addition onto the house, doing some man shit. I was 35 when my son was born. So a little older, right? And even then, I was still, and even to this fucking day in my fucking early mid-40s, I have to admit, like, I'm still kind of, oftentimes preoccupied with video games and whatever. But, times change, whatever. Video games are a fucking form of entertainment that just didn't exist on that level back in the 80s, 70s, whatever, okay? What I'm getting at, though, is there are way too many adult motherfuckers out there that are interested in fucking comic books and anime. Okay? Like, I go on Facebook, for instance, right? And the most heated debates that I fucking come across that just randomly pop up because, one of my friends fucking commented on it is who would win between fucking Colossus and the fucking goddamn Incredible Hulk if there were fucking the whole X-Men fucking intervening or some stupid fucking retarded shit or Goku versus Superman. And this is coming from fucking 35-year-olds. What the fuck? The world's falling apart around us. And you're worried about anime. You're building your fucking belief system around a fucking fictional cartoon character. And using it to represent that's your avatar on social media. What the fuck? So yeah, I have a lot of fucking, I have issues, okay? I'm sorry. I fucking resent the fact that, like, the MCU is as big a deal as it was. I remember when I was a teenager, okay? from the ages all throughout my teens, right? 13 all the way up to 19 or even very early 20s. I was like, man, I wish they would make it would be really cool to see like Juggernaut brought to life in CGI on the screen, you know. I'd like to see a good fucking comic book movie, because back then we didn't fucking have them. You know, ever since Iron Man come out, and the MCU comes way too late for me. It's like, I'm not going to say I didn't watch those movies. I don't have any, I enjoyed watching Guardians of the Galaxy. I enjoyed watching Avengers Endgame and that. It's all fine, whatever. But I recognize it for what it is. You know, and of course, I'm sitting here as someone who fucking does pro wrestling videos on a regular basis, right? Digging up nostalgia and that. But as I said in those previous videos, it's like I fell off the fucking wagon, you know, years and years and years ago. I don't follow this shit today. The stuff that I like to talk about has, you know, yes, it is nostalgia, and, you know, that's a whole other conversation we can get into. But, man, it's one thing to find entertainment in these silly things. It's another thing to be, like, obsessed. To the point where you're putting one of these fucking characters as your fucking that's what you're using to represent you on social media, is fucking some fucking weird-ass anime character. Okay? And as passionately I just went off on that, I don't want to be too harsh, because I know I'm making a lot of enemies right now. I can hear it. I can just see the thumbs downs going. Whatever. I mean, go ahead. Get the fucking dislike the video. I don't care. If you're interacting at any level, it helps me. Where am I putting the anime profile fucking pictures? Now, but let me say, like, if you're a fucking kid. Okay, if you're 15 years old, if you're 23 years old, you get a pass. All right, I'm not going to begrudge you for being into a cartoon. All right? If you're over the age of 30, though, reevaluate your fucking life. Okay? If you're so into goddamn fucking cartoons, all right, maybe it's time to start thinking about growing up. I'm going to decry you. You deserve to be shamed. Okay? Anyway, next up, Mormons. Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, same fucking thing, right? These offshoots of Christian fucking proselytizers going door to door, fucking trying to sell you on their bullshit. Most of us probably been there. Although I think it's probably less prevalent today. I couldn't tell you the last time somebody knocked on my door trying to preach the word of Jehovah, trying to pass out a pamphlet. But it's been more than once. Over the past 10 years, it's been more than once that I've had to say, yep, it's all right, shut the door on them, you know. Here's the thing. Most of these people, when it comes to people, religious people of that sort, I don't want to use a blanket term for religious people, because it's such a broad thing. You've got Hindus and Buddhists and Christians and Muslims and Jews and whatever the fuck, and some are very devout and some are not so much, casual, whatever. Right? So I don't want to say religious people. What I'm talking about, again, is it's the Jehovah's and the Mormons and the people that go door to door trying to proselytize, trying to hand out pamphlets, trying to fucking reel you into their fucking community or their church or whatever, okay? Now, on one hand, it is freaking aggravating and annoying, and it's frustrating to see people that are fucking dumb enough to fall for this shit. Like, you know, it's like, really, Joseph Smith? Are you serious? This is whatever. And I'm not trying to get into like a super deep conversation. You know, if you want to get my thoughts on religion and belief, I mean, there's some videos. Go into my backlog, you can find them, okay, where I talk about that kind of stuff. But I'm not trying to get into that here. What I would say, just to make this fucking real brief here, okay, they're annoying as fuck, they're ignorant as fuck, but they mean well. In my experience, every one of them who has come to my door, even if they're intruding me when I'm like fucking in the middle of trying to make some mac and cheese for the kids, or I'm in the middle of trying to watch Die Hard for the 850th time, and it's a little annoying, but it's whatever. No, sorry. And I lie to them. I say, well, I'm a devout fucking Scientologist, or I'm a devout fucking Catholic, or I'm a devout whatever the fuck, and then they usually leave me alone. None of that's true. But they leave, oh, well, okay, all right. You know, they're not going to win you over if you tell them that you're already like ass deep into a fucking another religion. And most of them mean well, though, and they've always been polite. I've never had any of them slash my tires or, egg my house or anything for me telling them to fuck off. So, yeah, they're not the fucking worst. They are annoying. I mean, what kind of damage to the world are fucking Mormons and Jehovah's really doing? They kind of stick to their own little group. Yeah, they'll try to recruit, but most of us ain't fucking buying it. I'm gonna put that. That's meh. Meh. Whatever. Leave me alone. Thank you. Goodbye. Have a good day. Meh. All right. Next up, polys. Polyamorous. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you saw an individual that claimed that they were in a poly relationship? When was the last time you saw one of these individuals, whether in real life or on social media or on the internet, anywhere, that was remotely fuckable? Okay? I mean, if you're somebody who's at least above average, or average or above in the looks department. Now, granted, if you're some fucking basement-dwelling mutant, desperate for, some kind of incel that's like crawling around desperate to get laid at all, I can kind of understand why your judgment might be off, and you might be intrigued into getting involved in one of these fucking scenarios. But if you're not amongst those sorts of people, you'll know that, anybody who's ever fucking come out as being in a poly relationship is fucking one of the most disgusting fucking people you could ever imagine. One of the most unfuckable. That's the thing. That's the irony there. It's like, oh man, I can't just settle down with one person. I gotta fuck everybody. And it's like, who the fuck wants to fuck you? Oh, all the other unfuckables. That's what they are. They're the unfuckables. By nature, that's what poly fucking groups are. I've never fucking seen somebody that was in a poly relationship, and I fucking looked before I did this video. Okay? For all these images that you're looking at right now, I had to go on to fucking Google and do a little quick image search. It was very apparent to me, the ones that are stock images created. It's just like, you've seen that fucking Wendy's commercial, right? Where there's that, like, girl talking about Wendy's new deals or whatever, and she's like a fucking 9 out of 10, or at least an 8 out of 10 in the looks department. She looks like a fucking model. They threw in a Wendy's fucking get up, and she's hawking some fucking cheeseburger bag. All right, this is very obvious. This bitch doesn't work at Wendy's. She's an actress playing a Wendy's waitress or cashier or whatever the fuck, right? That's what a lot of these stock images you'll see is. It's like all these really fit black people and stuff, all kind of huddling over a cell phone or whatever, and they all look like fucking models. Okay, that's not a real poly group. Okay, that's the reality of it is more of what you're looking at now. And now. Right, that's your typical fucking poly relationship, and this is fucking disgusting people. These people, but again, hey, if you fit into those groups where it's like, I fucking like anime, I don't treat my fucking body right, I'm a fucking just overall piece of, like, there's so many other different demographics that have to come together, and that's what makes a fucking poly person, right? And we're gonna get to some more of these categories later that are part of the makeup. Like I said, there's a lot of crossover here with some of these fucking groups. But poly people, they're gross. They're disgusting. Okay? 100%. And hey, look, it ain't my place to tell anybody, and I should have said this right from the out. It ain't my place to tell you what to do with your genitals, okay? You want to stick your fucking dick in 5 different holes every fucking night, and you guys can make that dynamic work between the group of you. That's not my business, all right? You're all consenting adults. Do your thing. You're not going to rank you up there with fucking Jared the pedophile just because, you guys can't commit to like a single individual. Maybe that's not in the cards for you. Maybe you wouldn't be a good father or a good mother, or you wouldn't work in a monogamous relationship. God knows it's hard to make a monogamous relationship work these days. Any kind of relationship, just based on the way the internet has kind of fucked society up. But that's a whole other conversation. So I'm not going to disparage you for your sexual preferences or your lifestyle. I'm just saying, these motherfuckers always got to open their mouth, and they get all snarky about it. It seems to me, right? Whenever I see them post on social media, or I see an article regarding a poly couple, they basically talk about, they're putting themselves over, okay? Like, oh, well, we are evolved past this monogamy myth or whatever. It's like, oh, fuck you, you're a mutant. Nobody wants to touch you. You found some other fucking mutant that nobody wants to touch, and you guys agreed to fucking fuck around together or whatever the fuck. Anyway, Polly. No, fuck. I want to say get rid. Get rid of these motherfuckers, but I might be a little ignorant, all right? Just because what I'm confronted with every day on social media is like the worst of the worst. I think that's probably intentional on a part of the fucking, websites that are hosting these goddamn articles or whatever. I'm sure there are poly couples out there that maybe aren't so in your face that can make it work or whatever. We just talked about Mormons, right? They have the whole polygamy thing going, and I put them into meh. And, I feel like the not category is getting a little lonely here. So whatever, for the most part, polys, they're not hurting anyone. I mean, they might, be a little bit of a stain on society, but I think it's more of a symptom than the cause, right, of anything. So I'm not going to throw them under the bus too hard. I'm going to throw polys going, nah, I could do without the polys. Okay, anyway, next on the list, racists. Fucking racists. They're the fucking worst, right? The worst thing you can be this day and age is a fucking racist. You will not fuck your life up faster, right? You could be O.J. Simpson. You could stab fucking 10 people to death in a hotel. And as long as they're all straight white men and you're a straight white man, you'll probably you're going to do some time. You might have a chance of fucking keeping your job, though. Better chance than if you used the N-word in a fucking, VHS video that you did in your backyard wrestling promotion with your friends fucking 25 years ago, and that ever comes out, you'll be crucified. You'll lose your job because you said a fucking N-word once in your life when you were a fucking idiot. That's how bad it is to be a racist. Everything's racist now, and, I gotta be honest, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this. I don't think I have to. I think most people we can all agree that racism is bad. But I think we can also, at least most rational people, agree that it's not the epidemic that so many like to make it out to be. Nowadays with this whole fucking woke movement and that, and again, I said I wasn't going to get into politics or political issues, and I'm really not going to dive too deep, but let's be honest. You got motherfuckers out there just looking for excuses. Race hustlers like Al Sharpton and fucking Ibram XN Kendi or whatever the fuck his name is. Racism's being thrown about every which way, right? Used as a fucking ploy, a tool to gain clout, to get whatever the fuck, right? I don't think racism is as big a deal. When I was growing up in the fucking 80s and 90s, that was one thing that was always preached, is that racism was bad. The whole Martin Luther King thing was preached, right? You treat other people how you'd want to be treated. Use the golden rule. All men are created equal. All this bullshit. Whatever. Fine. I never fucking thought much about it. And I grew up and still live within Metro Detroit. I live literally like a mile and a half north of the city of Detroit. So I'm in the suburbs, but I'm not too far removed. Right? You guys saw 8 Mile, right? I'm at 10 Mile. Right? It's a very diverse neighborhood, okay? I go to the store, I get along with people. Black, white, brown, we got a lot of Middle Easterns here. Okay? Everybody pretty much gets along. I don't see this fucking epidemic, and I do a lot of work in the city of Detroit. I see a lot of these motherfuckers with their burnt down houses living in absolute squalor, and despite their conditions, most of them are all right people, happy in fact. I just don't see it as this fucking global fucking epidemic that so many people want to claim. Okay. But nevertheless, if you are a racist, if you are somebody, he must be dumb because he's fucking black, or he must have a small dick because he's fucking Asian, or he must be a Nazi because he's a fucking white supremacist because he's fucking white, whatever the fuck. Fuck off, take a hike. These are I thought we all understood that was a fucking joke, right? Or not a joke, but it's just like that shit should be fucking buried. But for political reasons, again, which I'm not going to get into, people, hustlers, like to get out there and use that to turn us against one another. Anyway, whatever. I don't want to get super fucking like conspiracy theory on everybody. And we've been going on for nearly an hour now, and I don't even think I'm halfway through. But whatever. Racism. And that's the other thing I will say about racism, though, when you look at the Holocaust. Slavery. The darkest fucking times on earth. The worst things that have ever happened on this planet have stemmed from racism. So even when we talk about pedophiles and murderers, well, yes, and again, I said there's a difference, right, between pedophiles and pederasts, between a fucking heat of passion versus a serial killer. And there's a difference between your, like, racist hillbilly uncle and fucking Adolf Hitler. But if we're gonna look at the fucking worst end of that spectrum, racism is at the top. The biggest crimes in humanity, the most horrific genocides, all comes from racism. So I think we can all agree, I hope, racists are the fucking worst. Even though the fucking whole thing's overblown these days. Anyway, moving on. PC gamers. Right? Whether you're an Xbox guy, or a PlayStation guy, or girl, or whatever. We've all been there. Well,
fucking Sony has the better exclusive titles. Nothing that Microsoft offers compares with the Naughty Dog Studios stuff.
Yeah, well, fuck you, you fucking plebe. What about Game Pass, you fucking idiot, right? And then there's there's the fucking PC gamers. You think 60 frames per second is really anything to boast about? You think a 4K resolution is I have ray tracing in 8K and my mouse will outperform your fucking whatever the fuck. Many of us have run across this motherfucker. The PC gamer. PC master race. You're just a fucking casual. Yeah, goddamn right I'm a casual. You know why? Because I have a fucking job and a family. Fuck you. What are you doing? Again, like with the fucking anime, grow up, all right? Like I said, I like comic book movies here and there. I like to play the odd video game. And I fucking really enjoy, you know, like I said, you know, the world of pro wrestling from when I was a kid and stuff. So I mean, I'm not saying I'm like, you know, super Mr. Sophistication here. But goddamn, you're going to make a fucking thing of it and like root out people who are going to be in your social circle based on... come on, man. But at the same time, they're all right. PC is the way to... If you have the money, right? They do have a point. The performance, the mods, the freedom that you get with PC far outshines that of the home consoles. Although you're going to pay for it. It costs quite a bit of money. But they're not wrong. At the core... The PC gamer is actually right. Actually. Right. As much as they annoy me, it's fine. Whatever. I will concede. Okay, fine. Your PC is better than my fucking Xbox Series S. It's better than my Nintendo Switch. Anyway, next up. Pranksters. The YouTube pranksters. You know, I couldn't tell you one of their names. This dipshit that you're looking at right here, I know he got fucking shot, right, for following some guy around a shopping mall. But, you know, and there are guys like, you know, whatever, fucking Tom Mabe and Joey Salads or whatever that actually do kind of well thought out, kind of innocuous pranks as far as I'm aware. I haven't watched all their shit. And it's usually kind of witty, kind of funny, whatever. All right, there's a place for pranksters. I'm not saying there isn't. You know, there's Jackass and all that stuff. But there's these low effort motherfuckers, right? That'll just fucking get their buddy with their cell phone, take a video of them walking down the aisle of a Home Depot and like just screaming in someone's ear. Or just taking someone's groceries. What, bro? It's just a prank, bro. Fuck you, bro. Right? Or they'll walk around trying to intimidate them, stalk them, act like they're gonna fucking rape them. And then they act fucking just beside themselves when somebody fights back or gets shitty with them. Or shoots them in the fucking face. Right? Again, like as is the case with this, I don't think he got shot in the face, he got shot in the stomach, but whatever. He fucking deserved it, okay? You're going around intimidating people, threatening people. You know, people are on edge these days, all right? anxiety, depression, all this stuff's at a fucking all-time high. Nobody knows who to trust anymore. You're going to go taunt somebody, follow them around a fucking Walmart, acting like you're going to fucking rob them and shit. Especially if you're like twice their size. Get the fuck out of here. What the fuck's the matter with you? And shame on you if you're one of the people who fucking subscribe to like shit like this. Or encourage it. These fucking low-effort pranksters. I guess that would be the specific category. Because again, you know, there are some out there, I don't know, what is Mr. Beast? Is that what he does? I don't know. I know he's like the most successful YouTuber ever. And I heard from my kid, my 8-year-old kid, that that's kind of what he does. Okay, fine. I'm sure it's innocuous enough. I don't fucking know. Whatever. Pranksters, get rid of them. Get rid of him. I'm not saying, you know, yes, that dude did deserve to be shot. He had it coming. I'm not happy that he got shot. I wish the guy would have handled it a different way. I'm not going to put pranksters up there with racists and pedophiles and murderers, but they're right underneath them. Right fucking underneath them. All right, next up, whatever the fuck this is. Okay? I wanted to say influencers. Right? This is Instagram influencers, Twitch influencers, social media influencers, these influencers, and that's kind of morphed into this. Now there's the OnlyFans demographic, sluts, skanks, online influencers, whatever the fuck all that is. You combine it because a lot of these bitches are like the same fucking thing. They sit on Twitch. They have no fucking discernible talent. They look like goddamn retards, all right? And they just like sell their bathwater or flash their pussy or show their titties or whatever the fuck. Preying on the, you know, myriad incels of the world. And to me, there's nothing more symbolic of the decline of our culture than these bitches. These sorts. What have we done? Just look at this bitch. Look at this person. Look, man, I'm not a prude, okay? I'm not saying like I'm this big pro fucking sex work, pro pornography, but I'm also not like ban all internet porn or whatever, but whatever, you know. To me, and I know this is a very, very personal, individual thing, so maybe I'm the narcissist here. Maybe I'm the fucking arrogant one. Maybe I'm the one speaking out of turn. Maybe I need to shut the fuck up because I'm old. That may well be the case. In fact, it probably is. But to me, when I think of like the word sexy, hot, appealing, you know, arousing, whatever the fuck, right? I'm thinking of a woman. You know? And I am I have appreciation for the entire spectrum of women, okay? I'm not super duper picky, and the older I get, the less picky I get, and I think that's part of our nature as men, right? You know, your options aren't as great anymore, so you broaden your horizons. So I don't care if you're, you know, 30 pounds overweight, maybe a little bit underweight. I don't care if, you know, what your hair color is, whatever, right? But look like a fucking respectable human being. You know, if I'm going to be interested in fucking somebody, if I am going to be convinced to spend my hard-earned money on some mail-order bathwater or fucking panties or whatever, I never would, but if you were going to try to convince me to do that, then you would have to sell me on the fact that you're some kind of respectable woman, and of course that's an oxymoron. No self-respecting woman would ever sell bathwater to fucking incels, but you get my point. You can't look like this. What is this fucking facial express? This fucking retarded look. Like, I'm confused. I'm a fucking dipshit. What the fuck is this? Men are not into this. Real men are not into this. It's the anime profile picture having X-Men fucking freak boys posing as men that are into this. And I guess they should have been a category all their own. Maybe I did put them in here. I don't know. We'll see as we move forward. But whatever the fuck this is. This fucking slutty influence, OnlyFans, whatever the fuck. We need to get rid of that. I'm not saying murder them. I'm not saying eradicate them, but they need to go. Go live on your own island. Fucking broadcast amongst yourselves. Get the fuck out of my life. All right, so moving on. Atheists. We talked about the proselytizers. We talked about the Mormons. We talked about the Jehovah's Witnesses. Now we're talking about atheists. This is a group that I technically, you know, I don't know how I identify these days, right? I've considered myself an atheist for fucking many, many, many years. Based on the fact that there was no version of God that was ever pitched to me that I actually could say that I believed in. And I still don't know where I'm at now. My opinions, my beliefs have kind of evolved. Again, go back to some previous videos that I made before the whole tier list thing started. Nobody really gave a fuck then. You're probably not going to give a fuck now, but whatever. You want the answers to what I think, that's where you'll find them. I think atheists do get a bad rap. However, a lot of it is self-inflicted. Especially back in like the early 2000s, there was so much. We talk about proselytizing, at least with the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Mormons and that. They'd come to your door and you could just tell them to fuck off, slam the door, and they'd be gone. But these, you know, when it was the whole Four Horsemen, New Atheist movement with Sam Harris, Richard Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens, Daniel Dennett, that was a whole thing. And all of a sudden you had the New Atheists and the Atheist Experience with this fucking guy here, Matt Dillahunty. It became a whole fucking thing. It became a group unto itself. And I remember Penn Jillette, I was a big fan of his and still kind of am. I mean, I like the guy, I like his honesty, I like, but whatever. I remember him saying like, oh, well, no, we're not a religion. We're not an actual group. I mean, being an atheist is, a fucking belief system like not collecting stamps is a hobby. Okay, I get that, but fair enough. But why are you writing books about atheism then? I don't know any non-stamp collector that writes books about not collecting stamps. So when you have a book out there called Every Day is an Atheist Holiday, that's not entirely accurate what you're saying there. You're not being completely sincere here. And it's just there's always this like fucking condescending tone that I never appreciated. Even though I kind of considered myself amongst those ranks, I didn't like the condescension, but I understood its place in certain respects, right? You get into these fucking online feuds with these ignorant Christians that don't know shit about the Bible, and it's just like, are you fucking serious? You really think, these young earth creationists, because that was a movement too? Oh, the world's only 6,000 years old, and fucking Adam and Eve were the first people. Fucking evolution didn't happen. It gets so fucking maddening and frustrating to deal with these people, and you start to become naturally condescending toward them. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of these, like the new atheist movement, they overstepped. Okay, and whatever. It's a whole thing. I really, honestly, I feel myself getting pulled into that I don't want to get pulled into. The long and short of it is, I kind of feel myself coming out the other side of my atheism. All right, I'm not going to make a big thing of it. Again, go watch the fucking video I made. I don't really consider myself an atheist these days, although I also don't consider myself a Christian or I don't know what people would say, oh, you're an agnostic, but it's more to it than that. Again, I don't feel like getting into it right at this moment. But if not for the atheists, if not for the likes of Christopher Hitchens, my beliefs would have not been challenged the way in which they were, and I would not have experienced the growth that I feel that I did. So as annoying as some atheists can be, I think they're actually, because we, especially here in the West, live in a very, formerly, spiritual and Christian society. They're important for the checks and balances, okay? So they go into fine. Atheists are fine. I'm good with them. You know what I'm not good with, though? Fucking lottery players. Lotto fucking players every fucking day. I have to stop, get gas in the morning, get my pack of cigarettes, get my Monster Energy drink, right? It's very simple. There's not much I need. It takes me about 30 seconds to cash out. Invariably, at least 3-4 times a week, I am held up in line, not from a fucking, I'd rather it be somebody actually holding up the store, right? I'd rather be witness to a fucking actual robbery half the time than deal with these motherfuckers standing in line. Yeah, I'm gonna take one easy pick, fucking give me $1. Then we're gonna play the numbers 6, 4, 2, 7, and oh, you know what? Let me get these two nope, not that one there. Nope. No, not that one there. No, further down. Oh, yep. Give me 2 of those. How much is that? Yeah, no. Okay, so give me one more easy pick. It's fucking always a goddamn thing. Every fucking time. And then they sit there and they fucking look everything over to make sure it's all fucking right. And then they stand there. They might move their fat ass off to the side a little bit thinking they're making room for you, but most of them are so fucking fat that you still don't have fucking room. Scratching off their fucking tickets. They always get in the way. I fucking hate them. And when was the last time? I want to ask you, the listener, right now, because you've fucking been there as much as I have. When was the last time you were in line at a gas station, convenience store, wherever, that you saw somebody, because you have, I know you've seen people buying lotto tickets, you probably see it every fucking day. When was the last time you looked at that person in line and thought to yourself, well, there goes a winner. That person looks like a winner, right? You ever see somebody in like a two-piece suit with a tie, or somebody just dressed decently, right? Maybe business casual wear. Somebody looked relatively healthy, happy, right? Versus some motherfucker in their pajama bottoms. They just rolled out of bed. Cat fur all over their fucking, half-assed fucking cardigan, whatever. Hair all fucked up because they didn't bother to wash it right or do anything. Maybe they threw on a ball cap. Which of the two is more common, right? I'm going to hit it big, though. When I win the lottery, you all are going to be fucking... No, you're never going to fucking win shit. You've never won shit. You're not a winner. You're a fucking loser. Get the fuck out of my way, loser. You go into... Fuck you. Destroy. 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 Can't help it. I'm biased. Okay? You're going right up there with OJ Jared and the KKK. Fuck you. All right, next up, Corvette Guy. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Jim Rome. All right, sports fucking guy on the radio and on TV, whatever. I used to listen to his program years ago when I gave a shit about the NBA, which I no longer do. I don't watch NBA anymore. I barely watch UFC anymore. I barely watch sports anymore, so I don't really listen to Jim Rome so much these days. But when I did, when I was a regular listener, he would talk about, I was always kind of hot and cold. I don't know, whatever. He was fine. He could be funny, he could be annoying, he could whatever. But one thing that always stuck with me is Corvette Guy. He'd always talk about Corvette Guy. And I was like, oh fuck, dude, that's a whole demographic. Corvette Guy. I've seen that guy. He lives he's fucking 3 doors down from me. 2 doors down from me. I have a Corvette Guy. I have friends' dads who are Corvette guys. And it's always that same fucking demographic, right? That middle-aged to fucking senior age fucking guy with the fucking dorky shorts and shirt, right? The top down on his fucking, fucking whatever the fuck model it is, whether it's a fucking Stingray or ZR1 or whatever fuck. And they just think they're the badass. And like Jim Rome said, I'll echo the sentiment. Like, fucking, I got no problem with Corvettes. It's a fucking badass car. Classic, American, muscle. There's a big fucking difference, though, between the Corvette, the car, and Corvette Guy. Okay? Corvette Guy's fucking inherently douchebag. It's just, it's just the fucking way it is. Maybe we could talk about, could we put, say, Mustang Guy into the same category? No, because Mustang Guy is usually younger. It's usually a teenager or somebody in their 20s. They don't have the money for a fucking vet. Okay, let's be honest. Fucking boomers are the only ones that have money for that. But anyway, yeah, Corvette Guy, it's worth mentioning, but it's not... I'm not going to say kill them. I don't want to do that. There's nothing wrong with enjoying... They're douchebags, though. Fucking douchey old guys in expensive cars. So, do I want them to stop real bad? No. Corvette Guy. Meh. They kind of annoy me when they rev their engine going down the fucking side street just to make their presence known when they're pulling up into the driveway. Other than that, they don't usually bother me too much. All right, next up. Teenagers. Just in general. Fucking teenagers. I'm not differentiating between male and female. I don't care where you come from, what part of the world, what part of the country, whatever. Well, I do. I mean, I don't have experience with Indian teenagers and fucking, Egyptian teenagers and teenagers from Belarus or anything. I have experience with them here in the West, in the United States. So I don't care if you're from Michigan or California or Wyoming or whatever the fuck. Teenagers, they're the fucking worst. I see a group of teenagers, I go the other way. Okay? They're just fucking the worst. I used to be one. I know how they think. I know how they act. I know what it is because I used to be one. And while, this was some of the most cherished memories of my life, when I look back on it, it's also the most cringeworthy. And I rue the day, or I dread the day that my sons will be teenage boys. I'm not looking forward to that. Okay, that's the only thing that I really, people talk. A lot of people are scared of having kids. Right? I talked to some of my friends. Now we're all in our mid-40s. A lot of them missed the fucking boat if they didn't do it already. But we talk sometimes about, what the big fear about having kids is. It's just like, well, I don't know if I want the responsibility. Oh, I don't want my wife's pussy to get stretched out. Oh, I don't know if I can afford it. Whatever the fuck, right? But for me, my big reservation was, it's like, well, I don't mind having babies. Changing diapers ain't that big a deal to me. Right? Losing sleep, I don't sleep that much anyway. That wasn't a big deal to me. They're cute, they're sweet, they're great, and my two boys are still that way. I am terrified of the day they become teenagers. I'll try, because I know what I did. I know the stupid shit that I was constantly fucking doing. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Dazed and Confused, right? You've seen that movie where the fucking assholes are driving around in like a fucking Dodge Charger, throwing bowling balls at mailboxes and shit, fucking kicking shit up, trying to get into trouble, starting fights, getting into fucking drugs. That was fucking Disney shit compared to what I did. Right? I was constantly out there defacing public property, getting into fucking fights, getting fucked up, getting my hands on drugs, trying to fucking... and I considered myself a Christian at the time. I didn't... I was out trying to find all the loopholes around, like, I'm gonna finger fuck this girl, I'll let this girl suck my dick or whatever, but I'm not gonna actually have sex. That was like the one thing, right? Whatever. I don't want to get too much in fucking personal, whatever. I was a piece of shit kid, right? I was a shitheel kid, and I wasn't even close to the worst. Right? I was one of the good kids in high school. So I know what's coming. I know life's a lot more boring, though. I mean, most teenagers, I think, stay in a lot more because online gaming keeps kids in the house, keeps them out of trouble. So I guess there's that. But that's even fucking worse somehow. It's like I think to a certain extent, you got to go out and you got to live a little. I just don't want my kids getting hurt, right? That's the main thing. And I don't want you getting arrested, right? Costing me a bunch of money. I don't want you going out and getting in a fight and getting your ass kicked. Getting yourself shot, ODing on something, getting yourself all boozed up and fucking alcohol poisoning. I've been there. I don't want that for you. How do you tell your kids that, though, right? Like, I can't. Oh, yeah, I remember that one time, the first time I fucking drank, I was like 17 years old, only weighed about $1.30, drank an entire fucking bottle of Aftershock, down to fucking 40 at Budweiser, smoked 2 joints, one of them was laced with heroin, and I fell down the stairs wearing a sombrero, and I shit my pants and almost fucking died. I'm not going to tell my kid that story. I fucking can't believe I just told you guys that story. That's a true story, though. It's fucked up. Anyway, teenagers, God bless them. What are they going to do? They can't help it. The hormones, man. Hormones. They get the better of you. But it makes you awful nonetheless. But no amount of shaming and decrying them is going to help. And hopefully they grow out of it. All we can do is try to love them, right? Raise them right. And I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I hope I'm doing a good enough job. I hate teenagers, but I gotta say fine, because it's a phase that every one of us has been through, so teenagers are fine, I guess. I mean, they're still, again, every entry on this list is like some of the worst people on earth. Don't get me wrong. Teenagers are the fucking worst. But as far as, being part of that larger group of the worst, alongside the, murderers and Karens and anime profile pic having motherfuckers. And of course, if you're a teenager and there's going to be some crossover, you probably do have an anime profile pic, but you're one of the few that gets the pass on this. So whatever. Next up, protesters. I fucking hate protesters. Again, I said I wasn't going to get into fucking politics, right? And I'm not. I hate protesters across the board. I hate some more than others, but we're not going to get into specifics. It's just, you know, I know you think you're doing good for the world, right? You know what, though? Here's the thing. I'm not going to get into left versus right. I'm not going to get into specifics like Antifa versus MAGA versus this versus that. I'm just going to talk about protesters in general, and I will let you, the listener, decide who you think I'm talking about, and that will be very telling, right? If you're going to go out and protest and picket, organize a peaceful protest, right, on Capitol Hill, right? You're going to let the politicians hear your voice. That's you're exercising your fucking First Amendment right. That is not only acceptable, but also encouraged. You know, go to where those assholes, those politicians that are in the top of the fucking tier list, right? Go to them. Well, they're not at the top. They're at the, well, whatever. They're close to the top. And that's how you're supposed to do it. But if you're sitting in the middle of traffic, okay, creating a human fence, blocking people from getting to work, blocking ambulances from taking their fucking patients to the hospital, blocking children from getting ready. Get the fuck off of my planet. And chances are, all right, I gotta stop. Because I mean, if I'm gonna offer my opinion, there's things worth protesting and there's things that are not worth protesting. More often than not, the people that are holding hands across a fucking highway, blocking traffic, disrupting civilization, they're protesting some real dumb shit, right? You're trying to, if it's about taxation, you're trying to take my rights away, that's one thing. If we're having the pussy march or the women's march or whatever, whose rights are we protecting at that point? I don't know. Okay, abortion. I said I wasn't going to get into it. I fucking hate protesters, though. I don't want to say destroy them. Some of them need to be destroyed, but you know, it's kind of hard to, you know, lump the whole group in. No amount of shaming. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. I don't know how you do that. I would love it if they were just gone from the face of the earth one way or another. I don't know, not necessarily in a violent way. Just go away. Go away. Get off the road. Let me get to fucking work, bitch. Anyway, next up, vegans. Now, so I guess there's some fucking crossover here, right? Like, we could talk about feminists and protesters and liberals and vegans, or we could talk about the fireworks guy and MAGA people and fucking conservatives or whatever. And there's going to be a lot of crossover, right? You kind of get what I'm saying, right? So, whatever. But, you know, so there's a variety of vegans. I'm not saying they're all shitheels. But we all know that person.
Did you know how many fucking rabbits died to make that? And you're not even eating a rabbit. But because the farmer had to mow over all those fucking whatever the fuck. Actually, no, that's the fucking, I'm talking shit. That's the opposite, right? That's actually the argument that the meat eaters will use to fucking talk shit on the vegans, right? Oh, to get all that wheat and fucking soy and whatever the fuck else you're getting, all those tractors got to mow over all those fields. They suck up a bunch of gerbils and fucking rabbits and shit, and you're probably eating fucking animal product anyway, unwittingly. This actually speaks ill of the other side. But I mean, I guess it's a fucking valid argument. But you know, but you get what I'm saying, right? It's like, you know, the suffering that cow had to endure so you could have that Big Mac. You know,
there's that kind of vegan. And then there's the vegans that are just like, hey, you know, this is why I do this, because number one, I love animals and I don't want to see any unnecessary suffering. I don't want to contribute to it. But also, I find that it's a healthy lifestyle choice for me and yada, yada. So, you know, how the fuck could I disparage somebody like that? It just so it depends. But I think we all, for the sake of the discussion, we know who I'm talking about here. We're not talking about the latter. We're talking about the former. And I refuse to believe. So, I mean, look at this picture here. All right. This vegan bodybuilder who is obviously in phenomenal shape and does not really fit the mold of that guy who's going to approach you and try to start a fucking riot over fucking cows, right, on behalf of PETA. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's not the vibe I'm getting here from this picture. But now look at this fucking guy again, okay? Yeah. Okay, two totally different fucking demographics. So I hate to lump both guys under the same bus, but I will say that even that bodybuilder, there's no way. I mean, okay, you're a bodybuilder and all you eat is celeries and tomatoes and fucking whatever the fuck, and also loads of fucking supplements, protein powder and all this other shit. Maybe it's free of animal product or whatever, but you have to supplement through science and chemistry to make up for the fact. But it ain't my fucking business. Look, man, I fucking get liquored up all the time and chain smoke like a fucking fiend, okay? So I'm not gonna talk shit about anybody putting unnatural shit in their fucking body. I got no room to talk. Just don't fucking talk to me about, like, your lifestyle and why it's better and whatever. Just leave me the fuck alone, right? I think that's mostly the running theme here. It's just like, look, man, I want to be left alone. Don't fucking come to my door knocking about Jehovah, right? Don't try to fucking tax me up the ass. Don't try to fucking, sell me on some fucking diet because you think it's more responsible. Don't eat in front of me with your fucking mouth open, and please don't fucking rape my kids or kill me or kill my fucking black friends. That's kind of what this whole thing, just leave me the fuck alone. Everybody live and let live. That's kind of what we all want, right? So if you can do that, we're good. But I find that oftentimes vegans cannot do that. I do not want to kill them. Shaming them does not work. I don't necessarily want to get rid of them because if they want to, whatever. Whatever. Nah, I could do without you. I could do without you, just like the polys. Vegans and polys are on the same tier. But actually, the but actually guy. That's the last one on this list. The expert. Right? Well, actually, you know what, man? We've been going on for like an hour and a half. And I forget where I was even going with this. We all know that guy, right? The but actually guy. Comes off trying to present himself as real fucking smart, but usually there's a Dunning-Kruger effect thing happening where they're not as smart as they think they are. I don't know, whatever. Smart people, dumb people, both could be on this fucking tier list, but the but actually guy, it's just, that kind of fits in line with, like, I don't know, hipsters or whatever. I don't know, I guess that's more of a specific thing. I don't know. Actually, I'm fucking, not that I'm bored. I could keep going on like this forever, but my lunch break is winding down. In fact, I'm fucking like over my fucking mark by like almost a half hour, so I gotta wrap this up. And I'm not sure how much more I can say. I feel like this guy fits right in with the PC gamer. Actually, we get 2400 frames per second, and the ray tracing is not gonna slow. Whatever the fuck. All right, the but actually got. You know what? Oh fuck! What's going on? This app always does this. Decry the anime person, right? Is that where I had that? But actually, guy, you know what? We could remove you from society and be absolutely fine. I could do without you. I don't necessarily want you to die just for being a smarmy asshole, but you can go. You can go fuck off. So anyway, we want to destroy murderers and pedophiles and racists and lotto players. We can get rid of Fireworks Guy. We can get rid of the Karens. We can get rid of the YouTube pranksters, the fucking OnlyFans, fucking weirdo influencers. Get rid of the fucking protesters. Get rid of the but actually guy. Fuck, dude. Get rid of the protesters, but we're keeping the politicians. Well, again, yeah, politicians are kind of necessary. It's just most of them are fucking shit. Whatever. Decry the politicians, the people who eat with their mouth open, the adults who use anime profile pics. The poly people and vegans can fuck off into the same category together. Nah, I'm not gonna put you on an island. I'm not even gonna bother trying to fucking shame you because you have no shame. Just get the fuck away from me. Meh. The Mormons, the Jehovah's, and the Corvette Guy. More or less innocuous. You're fucking annoying, but yeah, you're all right. And the PC gamers, atheists, and teenagers. Yeah, you guys fucking irritate me sometimes too, but more or less, I mean, I have identified with each and every one of you at some point in time, so who am I to really talk shit? Anyway, that's the list. Okay, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. We're going to probably, I was thinking, for those of you who have been kind of with me throughout the wrestling thing, right? I'm thinking I might, because I'm already, I can't help it. As much as I wanted to kind of change subject matter and get onto a different thing, I'm like, man, I still, oh, fuck, I should have talked about Draws. Oh, fuck, I should have talked about fucking D'Lo Brown. I should have talked about Chris Jericho. I still want to talk about the fucking wrestling gimmicks. So you know what I think? Rather, I do 2 uploads a week. Maybe once a week it's the wrestling gimmicks, and once a week it's something else. We'll see. I don't know, moving forward. But if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. All that shit, it does some fucking good shit for the algorithm. Hit the bell notification before you leave. Thanks for watching till the end, and I'll see you in the next one.